So good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming along. I've got to make the little joke now that it's like being a tea bag, being in this room. I'll let you gently steep for the next 15 or so minutes, so embrace your inner tea. Sorry about the heat. So not without irony, I'm going to start my presentation with some statistics and some charts. I promise to not be too boring. The theme is be less boring. But black tea for Brits is a must-have, and standing out is incredibly difficult. Black tea isn't particularly sexy. Black tea isn't trending on TikTok. So for the people who were here before talking about donut glaze, I'm afraid no one's doing anything new and exciting with a tea bag. Not that it's, oh my gosh, that could go so wrong. They're doing lots of illegal things or lots of naughty things, I'm sure. But it's quite hard to get people talking about tea and get everyone to get excited about the category. But tea is so well poised with all the massive macro category trends we see in health and well-being. Tea really is the original zero-calorie drink. People know PG. Brand awareness for PG tips is not the challenge. PG is really famous. That's not the issue. The problem is people don't care as much as we want them to. Why? Well, we've chopped and changed, lots of really well-meaning campaigns focused on functional product delivery, forgetting all about the emotional side of tea, trying to be something that we're not. Now, this is an interesting one. This is some data from Yorkshire Tea. I haven't gone stealing their slides. This was publicly available. Yorkshire Tea have done brilliantly. They've been so consistent with their proper campaign. They've really shown the category the power of consistency, and PG Tips has chopped and changed over time. So awareness, like I said, wasn't the issue. But the more I read about this, the more obsessed I became with trying to bring back that consistency to the brand. There's some amazing data, and there's a link to a white paper in a second from Analytic Partners and System 1, and it's indisputable. Wear out is a bit of a myth peddled to us by agencies. We get tired of our campaigns way before our consumers do. It's an urban myth that's fueled many restages and many new campaigns. So, consistency doesn't have to be boring. Good news for me, it wasn't about the tea, it was just the way we'd approached it. So, there's an incredibly thought-provoking paper. The QR code, I really hope works because it was a free QR code generator. It's an amazing white paper called The Extraordinary Cost of Dull. I learned so much from it, but one thing that really stuck in my mind is that dull ads are incredibly expensive. You have to spend so much more with your media money to match your competitors' fame if you're, well, boring. Another chart from the same white paper. The brands that people talk about are the brands that people buy. If you're not part of that conversation, you are losing your consumers. It was a real challenge when reading this white paper. It really provoked me to go, we need a campaign that evokes real emotion and puts this into the everyday cultural conversations and makes people feel something. As a backdrop to our own brand challenges, we started to see, our competitors falling on really hard times. We started to see the competition for share of spend hotting up more than ever, more than this room. The cultural context as well was critical. Anxiety, tariffs, wars, the cost of living, it's all going on. Individually, we're feeling more and more jaded and overstimulated and overwhelmed. But we know from research conducted by PhD Media that reigniting optimism in consumers can actually unlock their spending potential. As a nation, we are a nation of optimists. We like to talk about ourselves as being glass half full. We know that optimists are much more likely than pessimists to spend in multiple categories, and they're 4 times more likely to take the decision-making risks. Other brands have spotted this power in modernized nostalgia and bringing back the optimism. From Coke's iconic Christmas ads to the reintroduction of, which I particularly love, the Pepperami animal, people have been able to reinvent nostalgia and make it feel fresh and new and exciting again. I'm not saying a cup of tea can solve the world's problems by any stretch. But everything does feel a little bit better after a cuppa, and arguably, have we ever needed happiness, enjoyment, and optimism more? Familiar media from our past really brings that emotional comfort, but it also fulfills a cognitive need. There was some incredibly interesting work done in the neuroscience space that engaging nostalgia also seems to have direct impacts on your mental health. Research has shown, for instance, that it reduces your cortisol levels and reduces your stress response. So going back to a more familiar time, a time you know, that nostalgic well-being is so important for you and increasing the optimism. Luckily for us, luckily for me, luckily for the team, humor is also in our DNA, so we didn't have to force fit this. There's another white paper here, another QR code. This one is all around building the case for change. Humor, play, and lightness are not just creative flourishes, but actually they're incredibly powerful neurological devices that build engagement, connection, and memory. This was another white paper that really inspired us to bring back the humor. They talk about brands that dare to play, that connect through well-judged humor, will be the brands that win hearts, minds, share a voice, and, most importantly for us as a business, consumer spend. If the report makes one thing clear, it's that levity in these times isn't optional, it's essential. So we set out on a mission to put PG tips back at the heart of British daily life and smiles on people's faces. Now, the man himself, Monkey is our most distinctive brand asset, and it was time for a comeback. Latent memory structures and DBAs can absolutely be reimagined to create fresh consistency. Like I talked about before, just because it's been done before doesn't mean you can't raid that brand archive and reinvent for the modern time. What made PG the iconic brand of Britain is just as relevant today as it ever was. We really need to understand, whatever brand you're working on, what your DBAs are, and then disrupt around them, but don't throw away your DBA because it feels old to you, because it's not old for your consumer. With our agency, NCA, we took inspiration from the reality TV world, and we really looked at how we could bring our DBA back to life in 2025 with a bang. We knew it couldn't be bland, it couldn't be boring, so the brief was clear: go big or go home. But we had to rebuild a relevant role in the category, in culture, and media. Having a mascot like Monkey, a character, really enables us to play in a completely new way in marketing. It allowed us to go to places that we were never able to go as a brand before, because it's all about Monkey being out there, living his life, one tea at a time. It allowed us to have a relevant role in culture. He's married with kids now. He's part of a reality TV show. He's got a story. He's got a media career, so he can be there. I'm pretty sure he was at Jeff Bezos' wedding, actually. And he's got a relevant place in media. This modernized brand character can really come alive in all manner of media outlets. Without further ado, for those of you who haven't seen it, I'll play the ad. Oh, I will attempt to play the ad. Will the man at the back press the button? No? Oh, IT failure. It doesn't work. Is that it doesn't work? Oh, sad times. I'd reenact it for you, but it would be weird. Please go on YouTube and have a look. It's got very, very high click-through rates. So, what was brilliant about the campaign, and I'm sad you didn't get to see it today, is the reaction we've had to it. Zappy independently reviewed it for us. It landed in the top 5% of all ads on both sales and equity driving potential. People loved the familiarity of resurrecting Monkey and appreciated the freshness of the story that's so relevant to today, and that is an exact quote. The revival of Monkey is vintage bliss. Our friends at System 1 also ranked it really highly, an all-star rating, and with exceptional short-term sales potential. perhaps the most important thing in all of this is that we gave consumers something to feel about PG Tips. And as a marketeer, don't we want to make all of our consumers happy? We set out to entertain, and we absolutely did that. Humor, as mentioned before in the white paper, can literally change the way a person experiences your message. It's not about making people just smile, it's about making your message stick. The case for strategic levity here, and neuroscientists are all over this. This makes your message more effective. And consumers were simply delighted to see Monkey back. Nostalgia, tick. Humor, tick. Happiness, tick. Relevance, tick. And you know you have not been boring when the press, consumer and trade, cover the launch of our new ad campaign. Not many ads capture the heart and the emotions and the attention of the consumer press, but Monkey Magic put us back on the map. In addition, the trade loved it too and got everyone talking about Monkey and, most importantly, PG Tips being back again. So in summary, all the things I've learned, there are many, but these are the things I wanted to take out for today. Consistency is absolutely king. Just because it feels old and boring for you, it doesn't necessarily for your consumer. Latent memory structures, distinctive brand assets, absolutely can be reimagined time and time and time again to build fresh consistency. Old assets can feel brand new when put in a new and relevant context. Reinvention doesn't have to be boring. We know if you're not part of the conversation, you're losing your customers. Yeah, okay, that's pretty obvious, I know. But you've got to create a campaign and make people have an opinion, even if they hate it. At least they're feeling something. The System 1 research really seems to indicate that even disliking it isn't necessarily a bad thing, because at least it's sticking in their mind. Don't be afraid to raid your brand archive. Own your past. It's what made your brand great in the first place. So again, how can you reimagine DBAs in a fresh, new way? And let your agency push you. The cost of dull is so very, very real. So be brave and make it impossible to be ignored. And if it makes you laugh out loud in the pitch, like it did for us, when you see it, run with that feeling. It's so tempting in a stakeholder management world to let people noodle away at a joke and just make it not very funny. And actually, what we did, and we're really proud of, is protected some of the edge right from the beginning, because it really allowed us to be distinctive, to stand out, and be remembered. So I hope you'll find it PG Tips a little less boring, and thank you for your attention.
Alice!
Yes!
Cup of PG?
Oh, yeah, go on.
Right, let's brew this.
So how did you two meet? We met on that celebrity dance show, didn't we? Yeah, he just took my breath away.
So did the samba. Gave me a stitch.
You are actually made of stitches, so...
Simmer down, children.
Right, Chai and Earl, pack
Yes,
it in.
it's chaotic. But we just live life one tea at a time.
So how do you take your tea? Very strong, milky, but no sugars.
Be honest.
I am being honest.
Be honest.
3 sugars.
Thank you.
And just like my love for Monkey, we'll never run out.
Every time I see her, I get butterflies.
We should get that looked at. Could be moths.
So it's true love. But you're not going to have a little dunk?
Do I look like a rich tea?
We are 100% real.
Mostly.